today we have some fun things planned for you. Today we are learning how to put instruments together. So let's do, what do you want to do? Do you want to do saxophone next? Let's do saxophone, okay? All right, finally found my saxophone. Whenever you are getting out your instrument, please be very careful for me. Okay, be very careful. Why do you need to be careful? Because a lot of people open them up upside down, and as soon as they open up their case, they'll like get out and play, they're all excited, their instrument comes crashing to the ground. Be really, really observant how you open up your instrument, okay? Now I have a trick, okay? I have like the label, this just like came with this saxophone, right? The label of my saxophone is right here, and thankfully that's the way that I know it's the top, okay? So I'm lucky that way. I get to cheat. You could like put a sticker on top of your saxophone case, that way you know where the top is. That's what I did on my clarinet case, but the sticker on mine fell off just because I have an older instrument. You're gonna unlatch your case. Yay! Open her up safely. Oh, we have a saxophone! Yay! All right. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go through a bunch of things with you. Okay. I'm gonna show you what everything is called, and then how to put it together. However, everything on this saxophone comes from one piece of equipment, okay? Boom, the reed. This is my saxophone reed, okay? And what I want you to do while you're putting your instrument together with me, I want you to be sucking on this guy, okay? This is how all of your sound is created, okay? When this is wet, it vibrates against your mouthpiece and creates sound waves. Those sound waves go through your whole instrument, and that's how you produce a saxophone sound. The only way that this works though is if it's wet. So right now you can see the back of my reed says like the brand and like the strength, the number that might be on there. That's the part that I'm going to put down on my tongue, just like that. All right, so as we proceed, this is always the first thing that you take out, okay? While you put the rest of your saxophone together, you're sucking on this bad boy, making it nice and wet so that it wants to actually play for you, okay? So let's do that now. You have to be extremely careful with these because they do break very, very easily. And if you break them, you can't play, all right? So you have to be extremely, extremely careful. Now we're ready. First thing I need to do is put on my neck strap, okay? Looks like this. It's got a big old like hoop in it. Mine's kind of like padded, so I'm just gonna make sure that I put the pad around my neck, okay? Eventually we'll talk about how to adjust this. First things first, let's talk about the accessories that are in here. This little baby guy, this is called the neck of your saxophone, okay? This is the neck. I also have, boop, my mouthpiece, okay? The little metal part is called the ligature. That's what holds our reed together, like onto our mouthpiece. So this guy is really, really important. If you don't have a ligature, your reed's not going to stay on your mouthpiece, and you're not going to be able to play, all right? When you look really closely at this guy, you can see that it bends, right? It's very, very, very delicate. So if you sit on this, you have to get a new one. There's no fixing it, okay? If you crunch this thing, oof, it is not even gonna hold on your saxophone reed, and then you're not gonna be able to play. There's a couple of really important things that you need to know. Reeds, be careful. Ligature, be careful. This is my mouthpiece, okay? Eventually, this thing will all smack together. We'll put the ligature on, and this is how we make our sound. The most exciting part is the big, humongous body of our saxophone, okay? Here it is. Now you might have a couple of things. You might have a little flat cap that comes off, just like that. You can keep that right in your case, or you might have what we call a pad saver. This just soaks up any of the extra moisture that's in our instrument. This is not the same as a swab, okay? This guy is not a swab. That's not what we use to clean our instruments. This is after we've cleaned our instruments, okay? If you do have a swab in your case, it might look like this. It might be a piece of cloth like attached to a string. That's a swab. Or you might even have like the little yellow squares with like the crazy like brushy bristles on it. That's also a swab, okay? So there's a few swabs that are all doing the same thing, but they look really, really different, okay? Mine just happens to be a black piece of silk on a string. So first things first, I took my neck strap, right? I already have that on. I'm going to clip my saxophone on. If you look at the back of your saxophone, there's one big hole right back here. That's where your neck strap goes, okay? Mine is just a little hook, and boop, it's on. Yours might be like a little clip that you have to pinch onto it. Doesn't matter. Now you're clipped in, all right? Up next, I'm gonna let the neck strap do the work, okay? That's the whole reason that I have a neck strap, that I can do this, because my saxophone's heavy. It puts a lot of strain on your wrist. Let the neck strap do its thing. Challenge yourself. You should be able to safely and confidently go no hands, ma, and show her that everything's attached. It's not going anywhere, okay? Not going anywhere. I'm gonna prop my saxophone up on my knee now, okay? I'm gonna take my neck. There is what we call the octave vent up here, okay? See how that guy moves? This hole, that's what we're aiming for on our saxophone, okay? So at the very top, you'll see there's an extra lever up here that has to go underneath the hole, okay? So we spin our neck on. Now, do you see what I mean? This is on our neck, and it goes over top of this crazy lever right in here, so that when I push keys, it actually works and moves together, okay? Make sure that your neck is facing you, okay? That's not gonna do anything. I can't reach that and play the saxophone at the same time. It doesn't work, okay? So make sure that your neck is facing you. The bell, the big hole at the bottom of your saxophone, that's gonna face away from you, okay? Now that your neck is together, make sure you give, I don't know, like 2 or 3 little screws up at the top just so that it doesn't move all over the place. Now you have to go no hands, because here's what I want from you. You have to adjust and figure out how to adjust your neck strap so that the neck comes right to your face, okay? If your saxophone's too low, which that's where we start off a lot, right? That's like hitting me in the throat, right? I can't reach it very comfortably. It's not comfortable. So I hoist up and move my neck strap, boom, so that my saxophone comes right to me. You are in charge. You get to control it, okay? Don't follow the instrument. The instrument doesn't have a brain. You do, okay? So adjust your neck strap so that, boom, the instrument comes right to your chin, okay? You can go no hands and almost play it. Now take your mouthpiece. I want you to take the ligature off. You're going to take your mouthpiece. You're going to gently, gently, gently push that on, okay? Push that onto your neck. There's a big old cork. If you could get halfway, that'd be awesome, okay? Now I know I can go farther. There we go. I'm about 2/3 of the way on. But you saw, I grabbed just the mouthpiece. I wasn't grabbing my whole saxophone. If I'm grabbing and like really gripping everything, I'm gonna crunch keys, I'm gonna bend keys, stuff isn't gonna work then, okay? So you have to be very, very careful not to crunch anything. If you're wailing on this neck and really like gripping it using your muscles, you're gonna bend this key up here and then your instrument's not gonna work, okay? Last but not least, let's do our reed finally. The flat part of your mouthpiece should be facing down, okay? So you see, this is the flat part of my mouthpiece. It's on the bottom of my saxophone right now. I'm gonna take the flat part that said, you know, the brand of my reed or the size of my reed, whatever's written on the back of your reed, that's going to attach to the flat part of your mouthpiece, okay? Flat part of the reed, flat part of the mouthpiece. Alright, so I have my reed. Okay, one trick I'm gonna show you. The flat part of your reed goes to the flat part of your mouthpiece. And what you need to do is we need to, hopefully you can see how there's like just a little sliver of black right behind my reed? That's what we want, okay? We need a very, very small part of black right behind our reed so that it wants to vibrate and make sound for us, okay? If it's too far up, your reed is gonna break really easy. If it's too far down, your instrument is gonna be so hard to play, so hard to play. So let's make sure that it's lined up, ooh, as close to the top as we can get. Just a little, there we go. Little bit of sliver of reed, okay? Now you gotta make sure you don't move it because now you're gonna take your ligature, okay? Your ligature only goes on your saxophone one way. There's only one way, okay? If you get this and you're like, oh no, what do? It doesn't go all the way down. we gotta flip it over. Boop. Okay, it only goes one way. The screws don't have to be screwed in all the way, but they do have to be past all that like shaved part of your reed, okay? At the very bottom, once you're at the very bottom, take, I don't know, 2 or 3 screws for me. I did like 2.5 there. 1, 2, 3, let's do 3.5 at the bottom, okay? You don't want these screws of your ligature to be too tight because then your reed won't want to vibrate and won't want to make a sound. If they're too loose, then your reed is just gonna squiggle all over the place and you're not gonna be able to make a sound anyway, okay? Boom, saxophone's together. Now when you take your instrument apart, you take it apart and put it back in its case just like you would a puzzle, okay? You have to take it apart exactly the opposite and then figure out where all of those parts are supposed to go. So, my reed was just the last thing that I put on. I'm going to take that off first. It's the most delicate, so I'm going to take that off and put it away safely first, okay? We could probably go through all these real quick, right? Yeah, I think so. Slide that back in, nice and safe now. Don't keep your mouthpiece on the don't keep the reed on the mouthpiece, okay? If you do, and you never take anything apart, you are going to allow mold to grow inside of your mouthpiece, okay? That is really, really gross, to me at least. I literally had to take a screwdriver to a kid's mouthpiece in his reed and chip his reed off because he didn't take his reed off for like an entire year. It was really, really disgusting, okay? Really, really unhealthy anyway. Next up off would be your neck. You have to unscrew this, right? And you, again, gently, gently, gently twist that off. You're gonna put it back in your case. Unclip your saxophone. Now the last thing that we're going to do is swab out, okay? Remember, the pad saver, the big puff that you have, that's not your swab. This one that's on a string, that is. What I usually do, I go from the very top in the small hole. I go all the way down, drop that in as far as I can. At that point, I can see it. If I look in the hole, I can see my swab, okay? I'm going to dump it out. Oh, look, it came out for me. And then pull it all the way through. If you keep your swab really neat, this will never get stuck, okay? Put that away. Take your neck strap off. Put that away so it doesn't block anything. Like I said, make sure that you keep this all neat. I usually fold mine up just so it doesn't get tangled and I don't get it stuck in my saxophone. 2, 3, wrap, 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 wrap. If you have the pad saver, at this point, you can put this into your saxophone, okay? When we play, our saxophones are gonna collect water just like from our breath. You know how when you like fog up a car window when it's really cold out and then you can like see the little droplets form? That's what happens inside of every single instrument. So that water, the spit that you might find, it's not spit, it's not like you're like you're not spitting into your instrument. It's literally just water, okay? The pad saver that you put in at the end right now, that's gonna soak up any extra stuff that you didn't get with your swab, okay? Make sure you close that up. I can't tell you how many kids have stood up from a band class, didn't actually close their saxophone case, and just bloop, dumped out their whole saxophone. Don't be that kid. Make sure you lock it up so that it all stays safe, okay? I will see you at our next band class and let's get playing.